Hello, 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 boys and girls, grandbabies and nieces and nephews and little cousins. How y'all doing? It's Grandma Sherri's bedtime story time. And tonight I will be reading for you Wreck-It Ralph, the power outage. Wreck-It Ralph, the power outage. It was the end of the day at the arcade, and the video game characters were gathering in Game Central Station. Suddenly, all the lights in the station went out. It was a power outage. I think we're stuck, Wreck-It Ralph told his friends Vanellope Von Sweets. He was right. Until the power came back on, no one Until the power came back on, no one was going anywhere. Don't worry, everyone, Fix-It Felix Jr. called out. My trusty hammer and I will have this fixed in no time. Ralph and Vanellope started to make their way toward Felix, but it was hard to see without the lights. Come on, stink brain, Vanellope said. I think I see Vanellope had run into someone. Oh, I'm sorry, Vanellope. I didn't see you there. It was Jean, the Nicelander mayor from the Fix-It Felix Jr. game. Do you think the power will be out for a long time? Jean asked Ralph and Vanellope nervously. I hope so, Vanellope said. This is fun. Vanellope started bouncing excitedly, but she stopped when she saw Jean shaking. What's wrong, Jean? Vanellope asked. The truth is, Jean said, the idea of spending the night away from home scares me. See the pictures? Nice pictures. Just then, Felix ran past with his hammer. Felix, tap Jean with your hammer, Ralph shouted. Maybe then he won't be scared anymore. Felix hit Jean lightly with his hammer. It was supposed to fix anything. The friends waited, but nothing happened. Jean was still scared. Sorry, Jean, Felix said sadly. I guess there are just some things my hammer can't fix. Vanellope and Ralph knew they needed to find a way to distract Jean until Felix could get the power back on. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, kid? Ralph whispered to Vanellope. Absolutely, Vanellope said. Party! Come on, everyone. We're going to have a slumber party. Wait, what? No, Ralph said. He had definitely not been thinking about throwing a party. Trust me, big guy, Vanellope said, patting Ralph on the back. I know what I'm doing. Then she climbed onto Ralph's shoulders and yelled, Now let's have some fun. Uh-oh. I think they're fit to have a party. Ralph sighed. If there was one thing he knew about Vanellope, it was that once she got an idea in her head, there was no changing her mind. Ralph looked around. Satan, he called out, recognizing a fellow member of his bad guy support group. Badanon, think you can help us out with some light? It would be my pleasure, Satan said. He lit his staff and a small circle of light filled the room. The video game characters wasted no time in following Vanellope's lead. Soon they were all happily playing party games. Who knew that zombies would be so good at this, Ralph said, watching Zombie Bob for apples. But Gene wasn't paying any attention to Ralph. He was too busy wishing he was safe in his own bed. Come on, Gene, Ralph said, pushing his friend toward a limbo line. You should give it a try. Gene took a deep breath and limboed under the pole. He could really bend. How's it going, Felix? Ralph called to his friend. Ralph looked around. Where was Felix? Up here, Ralph, Felix called from within one of the ceiling vents high above Ralph. Can't talk now. Think I'm getting close. Gene was having fun, but he was still worried. Vanellope needed another idea. It's time for charades, she cried. Gene, you keep time. Ralph, you're up first. I don't know about this, Ralph and Gene said at the same time. Gene thought he'd be too scared to keep time, and Ralph didn't think he'd be very good at charades. But Vanellope wouldn't take no for an answer. She's very determined. Rooster, no. Ice cream, no. Giraffe, no. I got it. Lollipop, Vanellope yelled as Ralph tried to act out the first word. Time's up, Gene yelled. It's a cybug. I was trying to be a cybug, Ralph explained. Whatever a cybug is. Do you know what a cybug is? Grandma Sherri don't either. Okay. Vanellope could see that Gene was starting to feel better, and she planned to keep him feeling that way. She grabbed Gene by the arm and dragged him towards the starting line for a three-legged race. Gene glanced at Vanellope's fellow Sugar Rush racers. They looked tough. Vanellope, maybe this isn't a good idea, he said. Come on, Gene. We have to beat Taffeta and Candlehead. Vanellope replied as she tied her legs to Gene. Before Gene could say another word, Sour Bill waved the starting flag. The racers were off. Taffy and Candlehead quickly took the lead, with Winchell and Duncan from the Bear Claw Brigade close behind. Vanellope, Gene cried as he tried to keep up with her. Slow down. You slow down, you lose, Vanellope said. Come on, Gene. You can do it. She don't listen to nobody. She just does what she want to do. Little Vanellope. Vanellope pulled Gene along as fast as she could, but they were still in third place. Suddenly, one of the racers tripped. Everyone went flying except for Vanellope and Gene. They raced into the lead and across the finish line in first place. You did it, Gene, Ralph said, lifting Gene onto his shoulders. I did it. I won, Gene cheered loudly. Well, we won, but you were great, Vanellope said. And look, you made it through the night, Ralph said. He was right. The sun had come out. Suddenly, with a bang, Game Central Station lit up. Felix had fixed the power. I never thought I would make it through a whole night away from home, Gene said. But now that I have, I guess it's not so scary after all. Thanks, guys. Of course, buddy, Ralph said. What are friends for? So they made it through the night when the lights went out. They had to find something to do to keep them busy and to get their minds off of being in the dark. The end. All right. That was the story out of, what was the name of it again? Power Outage. And it comes out of Disney's Bedtime Favorites. So that's the end of that story. And Grandma Sherri wants to say, I'm Grandma Sherri and Tia. And I want to say good night to Sir Jalen, Sir Ashton, Anaya, and baby Christian. And all of the other little children who may be listening to my voice on Grandma Sherri's Bedtime Story channel. So I hope all of you say your prayers before you go to bed and thank God for another day and ask God to bless your families and keep you safe through the night. And when you wake up in the morning, you thank God and say your affirmations and always think positive and do not be mean to your friends. Bullying is not nice. Saying ugly things to your friends is not nice. And people that say ugly things to you is not nice. Whenever people say something ugly to you, you always tell them, I am perfectly made because God made me. And God does not make mistakes. That's what you tell them. We're all different. No two people are the same. So it's all right to be different. Good night. And I love you.